Okay, guys, I figured we're just going to do some low effort content, kind of talk about my roster for the upcoming Juicy L League. The Juicy L League is like just a bunch of my friends that, we play MCP together. It's named after Juicy L, the mascot of Alarmist. So I'm just going to tell you what I'm playing in that league, and I'm going to run down my roster and give you a little insight into how I play Web Warriors. So, starting off, my Web Warriors are Miles, Gwen, Venom, Amazing Spider Man, Black Cat. So, those are my in faction options. Uh, I've made no stranger that I think Miles, Gwen, Venom is what you play 90% of the time. I just think they're an absurdly good core 10. They're just like good in every single thing that Web Warriors wants to do. They all can move models, they're all pretty hard to kill. Gwen, while not being hard to kill herself, has lifesaver, so she can just kind of pull people to safety and make other people harder to get at or kill. Amazing Spider-Man's kind of a flex pick for me. I don't like playing Amazing Spider-Man. I think he's kind of bad. And it's not so much that he's bad as that he's overcosted for his points. I think his leadership is so much worse than Miles. He's hard to play alongside Miles due to point limitations and the fact that he doesn't bring any displacement himself. And I play Web Warriors in a very displacement heavy way. That being said, I like witty banter. His ability to have or his like turn one extract play is very strong. He's tanky himself as long as nobody's bringing marked for death. So I play him. The matchups where I like him are like going first on like spider infected, where we've also kind of ended up on a wide scenario. So like if they bring spider infected and I bring a wide scenario and then I have priority, I like bringing Amazing Spider-Man there. I think just holding an objective all game and then just being able to run away and being very tanky makes him good there. I also like his leadership into A Force, the ability to like move long, put slow on a drop off model, and then run away long. In combination with something like Spider Tracker or Lifesaver, can just make it almost impossible to get a good drop off, which makes She Hulk very sad. And if She Hulk is walk attacking as like the best activation she'll have, they're just not going to get 6 points out of her, and I'm going to win on scenario. Black Cat I play in is also a flex pick. I play her in Spider or not Spider Effective, but in Legacy Virus. So she's my third steal for Legacy Virus at 19 points. So I haven't played a ton of Legacy Virus in the new rules because I don't get to pick it every time I end up on extracts, which is what I would do in the old rules. Uh, but essentially, the 19 Legacy Virus plan is Miles, Gwen, Venom, Black Cat, Enchantress, Toad, and really the core of that list is Miles, Black Cat, Enchantress, Toad, because that gives you 3 steals and 1 person to assemble. Makes it like just very hard for your opponent to do anything other than just focus on where the viruses are, which means you can still like apply secure pressure. And if you ever manage to assemble the virus, which is pretty freaking easy with that list, it just becomes incredibly hard for your opponent to win. Like playing 8 points up, even a model down in Web Warriors should just like win you the game. The scenario is just incredibly tilted towards us. I also play her in Black Order. Staggering Corvus is bananas, and I just think she's really good there. Then I have like this awkward. So if we move on to like my splash models, my fours are really obvious in my opinion. I still think Enchantress is just the most broken scenario piece in the game. While she's significantly worse, and you do feel the change to bow a lot, and the action for steal is brutal in terms of like how much she can impact the game compared to what she was. She's still just insane. Like you should still just be playing this character. Like if you care about anything that Medusa does, or anything that Enchantress does, you should be playing Enchantress. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna apologize. Like they didn't nerf her enough. She's still incredible. Like play a lot of Enchantress, guys. She's so freaking good. And then Medusa, I think that even though she was nerfed pretty significantly, like you definitely feel it. Like her attacks don't just kill the world on accident anymore. Like the character is much more fair, but she still just has everything that web warriors want. Like her having a 60% to push on her attack is really, really good. Her being able to display size 3 models is really good, especially in this world where there's like tons of stuff that can't be displaced with just superpowers, right? Like having the size 3 push on her attack is really, really helpful. Uh, Maybe I should back up a little bit and talk about this league. This league is, if it's spoiled, it's legal. Like if we've seen the cards, even if they're leaks, it's legal. So you can just play anything. So Juggernaut is running around here, and it's probably the biggest unknown and the biggest thing I'm worried about. And I don't really have a good solution to that other than just like play all webbed up on Juggernaut and try to daze him. Because once he's dazed, he's not a problem for us. But before he's dazed, oh boy, he can go very, very far, and I can't move him, and he's size 4, and boy howdy, everything I have that affects that model he's immune to. And it's just 8 hit points, reduced damage by 1. Uh, yeah, I'm very worried about Juggernaut. My 2 point slot, I picked Toad. I think Toad and Bullseye are really the only two models you would consider for Web Warriors. And I think the thing we like about Bullseye is that he's evasive, and Toad is just more evasive than Bullseye. So that mixed with the fact that he just like can randomly assemble the Legacy Virus makes him just like the most auto include 2-pointer ever. Toad is just nuts. I love this little guy. And then the last two slots I think are really flexible for Web Warriors. Like it's kind of dialed to taste. I personally do not like any of the remaining Web Warriors. I think that like Daredevil is actively bad, especially when you can get hit. Like the most exciting thing about Daredevil and Web Warriors is his gun. His gun doesn't make power. It's only a 4 dice attack, and you're looking for the wild pull, and that's just a thing that's available on 3-pointers. And I would much rather be playing Peter Parker, but again, Peter Parker is can cause weird math problems when playing Amazing Spider-Man, and I just think that Medusa and Enchantress just do his job better, even though they have to do it from like slightly closer. So these two slots, I picked Miss Marvel and Captain America. Almost Captain America, Sam Wilson. Almost certainly one of these two should be Valk to shore up my weakness to meteors, but I don't anticipate there being a ton of meteors in this. There's no Asgard players, and there's only a couple A-Force players. So my plan is kind of dodge and try out, pick which one of these two I want to play, because they're actually very similar in what they do in Web Warriors, not specifically in what they do in general, but like how they're played in Web Warriors. Like they're both like models that can hit you and push you from pretty far away from relative safety. They both like to retreat after they're attacked. So like the ideal Miss Marvel activation looks like throw a model off a point, transform, attack a model twice, retreat back to the point she started on. Captain America's kind of the same, where he wants to like throw his shield twice and with a charge in there and be able to end up on a point at the end of his activation. So they're all like really, really similar. The models, like when their dice go well, are just bananas. Like Captain America can end up pushing 4 models off points, and the meta right now seems to not be playing a lot of size 3 in general. Like Black Order only has like Thanos. Web Warriors only has Venom, and like Avengers plays like Lizard. Like nobody actually in faction that's size 3. It's pretty uncommon. So like the size 2 push on the shield is actually super, super relevant, more so than I think it's ever been in the game. I'm not sure which one of them should be. One of them almost certainly should be Valk, but I'm trying it out, and I'm just hoping to dodge the matchups I don't want to see. All right, 10 tactics cards. I am playing my restricted cards are Medpack and Brace. I think these are the 2 best damage reduction cards for spiders. Spiders always want to spend their restricted slots on damage reduction because the longer they stay alive, the more likely they get to do what they need to do to score points. And I'm playing the long game. I want to go long. So that's what we're doing there. You play all webbed up because all webbed up is like the faction card. Fixes our pillow fisted problem for 1 turn. It's one of the only ways we have to deal with Juggernaut or a Thanos, right? Because flipping those characters wildly change how strong they are into me. So play all webbed up to try to like get through those characters. Spider Tracker I think is a flex pick. I like it into A Force and I like it into Asgard, and I kind of like it into Spider Foes, but it's pretty corner case based on what the extract is. Just letting you walk away from characters that are reliant on charge or drop off in A Force's case. Really let you just kind of like do really silly things in terms of like just keeping models safe that like shouldn't be. Also, those factions will try to scalp out Gwen because they really hate Gwen, and this will let you spend Gwen's power to protect herself with Spider Tracker. And they don't have good ways around it because they're spending actions for movement. They don't have a lot of non-action based movement in that faction. It's not like they have access to bump or something like that. I'm still playing Advanced R&D. I haven't played a ton of this since the nerf to it. I think it's way worse for spiders because Advanced R&D allowed us to put webline pressure on turn 1. And then if, like webline pressure wasn't looking like it was the thing we wanted to pull the trigger on, it always could just smooth our power problems later. And now it doesn't do that second thing. And I kind of think that the turn 1 webline pressure is more about the threat of it than actually pulling the trigger on it. I hate pulling the trigger on it. I want my opponent just to play kind of cagey and give me breathing room. Having to like make good on advanced R&D is super brutal on turn 1, and often ends up with you going kind of down on points and up on attrition, which isn't what I want to do with spiders anyway. So I've been playing this card a lot less. I still think it's good. I still think it belongs here. Obviously, I'm playing it, but I think it's really. I think it was borderline always our 4th card, and now it's kind of fighting everything else for it. Playing Mission Objective. Mission Objective continues to make Legacy Virus just the dumbest thing in the world. Just another angle in which we can assemble the Exodia puzzle and just automatically win the game, because anytime the spiders score 8 points out of nowhere, they win. It doesn't matter what the cost is. If you said we're not playing a extract at the start of the game, KO one of your characters, you get 8 points. I take the trade every time. Even I discard a tactics card too, and that's just what we're doing here with Mission Objective. It's super dumb. It has some play kind of in like other situations, like if they're playing a faction that has voodoo, I think Mission Objective also gets really interesting. And I think Mission Objective is really interesting in the mirror because it works on Miles and voodoo. Anytime you drop the objective, it will work. And I think that a lot of teams should be playing Mission Objective to deal with spiders playing Legacy. I think there's just enough slots that having Mission Objective in your 10 just for Legacy Virus, I think is totally a good slot. Like nobody's using all 10 other slots. Like I have 2 slots that I'm just probably never playing, but here we are. Lethal Protector I like a lot. I'm playing this card a lot more. I think it's really good into Guardians. It's tough to play because Venom's power economy is so bad. It's not bad. It's just like it's so strained. Like he doesn't build power. He can just spend all of his power every turn and just paying 2 to bodyguard and move him. It often means that he can't snap back, which makes him less durable. But we're protecting other spiders, and you just gotta play the card. Disarm, more damage reduction. That's what spiders are doing. In games where I think I'm going to have priority a lot, I like Disarm. I also like it just kind of in the kind of wider factions where like it's pretty good into Guardians because they're all 5 die attacks. I also like it into Spider Foes who are all 4 die attacks. So it's just good damage reduction, just solid. The last 2 cards I'm playing are Indomitable and Fallback. Fallback, I'm not sure when I ever play. It just like gives a character slippery. It's like slightly different than slippery. I get that it's slightly different, but it's essentially slippery. And I'm not sure when I ever play it. Maybe I would play it in situations where Spider Tracker's good and I can stack it with Spider Tracker. Play like Spider Tracker, Fallback, all webbed up, and my 2 damage reduction cards. and just make it really, really hard to get at the spiders. I might want to try that into A Force maybe. I'm not sure. But I want to experiment with the cards that's in here. Indomitable is just like way, way better web barrier. And web barrier, I've played to actual success against Wakanda. If you think there's a lot of Wakanda in your meta, web barrier is not bad right now. But once Indomitable comes out, it's just way better. It's 2 power to ignore a push or a throw. It can be a bad brace. It can be a freaking just no, you don't get to push me off the point, Wakanda. I think the card's just insane. I think you see it a lot. I think you should play it into Web Warriors. Like, if you guys are having trouble with this matchup, this card is pretty dumb. Like, I think this card's really good. All right. Home stretch. Here we go. Extracts. I'm playing Scoundrels, Cosmic Invasion, and Extremis. Extremis and Cosmic Invasion are both D scenarios. They're really, really similar. Um, Spiders like the D shape a lot. Extremis lets them heal, keeping them, hard to kill, more damage reduction, more hit points for your opponent to chew through so you can carve out the win late in the game. Cosmic Invasion is a good second choice. 16 used to be really awkward for a lot of teams. I think that's largely solved, but at the same time, the push that gives you 2 power uh, often staggers opponents, which makes it hard for them to kill you. Even the extra power doesn't turn into enough damage for them to mess you up. But for spiders, it often fuels our movement shenanigans abilities. So like, oh no, Miles got pushed out of position and got given 2 power. Good thing he can web swing now. Like, I just think it's bad. It's like downside is never bad for us. And then Scoundrels, the bad news scenario. If you haven't seen this thing, this is dumb, dude. I don't understand. Like, it is freaking Spider Christmas. We get, like multiple Spider-Man movies are coming out in the next year, and we're like one of the best factions in the game. And now we've got Scoundrels. Good lord. Like, who? This card. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, it's on the Spider Infected setup where there's 5 points. If you're standing on those points, you're in cover unless you're being attacked by a model also standing on that same point that you're standing on. But it's super dumb. It's just like every spider has borderline like invul while on this, just and like good invul, like min one. Like it's so good, dude. Like the fact that the Miles leadership means that even if you skull out, you can turn one of them into cover is really good. It makes you so tanky. There's so many points on the table. It's exactly the kind of thing that spiders want to see. You can run away because the farthest points are still pretty far from each other. It's really, really good, man. It's just so good. The other one I could see other spiders playing here is Infinity Formula. I just cut Infinity Formula because I find that even though the power gain solves our power problems, it tends to give our opponents more damage as well, so it's at best a wash. And while we do like the setup, we don't like it as much as D's or what is Scoundrels? I think it's technically an E. I think that's the name of it. I just like Scoundrels better, and I like Cosmic Invasion better. So it would be my fourth scenario if we had to bring 4, but we don't, so I didn't bring it. All right, finally, Extracts, playing Legacy Virus. It's impossible to talk about this roster without talking about Legacy Virus like 5 times. It single-handedly will just scare people out of forcing spiders on Extracts. Legacy Virus is a huge problem in the meta right now. Like, I think that unless you're Spiders or Criminal Syndicate, like, you're scared to death of Legacy Virus. Like, oh boy, teams that are good at this against you, it's scary, man. And like, that's good. Oh, I guess Inhumans are also pretty good at Legacy Virus because they can do, if they have priority, they can pick up 2 on turn 1. But they kind of have all their eggs in one basket, and if Ronin ends up dropping Legacy Virus key or ends up dropping them or getting dazed early, it can be really tough. But they have a lot of tools to keep Ronin safe, so I think they're like the 3rd best at Legacy Virus, which still makes them very good at it. Hammers, this is the one that I will cut as soon as possible. Hammers helps spiders, but it also hurts spiders. Like it gives us more power so we can play our stuff. I'm not wild that you can hold multiple hammers. I'm not wild at when somebody gets multiple hammers on them, how easily they squish spiders. But I like it better than cubes, so here we are. Right? And there just aren't that many live scenarios that aren't just like super dumb. Like I don't like researcher spiders. It forces you into the middle. Like we play it fine, but I think there are tons of people that play it better, and I would rather run away from people with extracts than fight them in the middle and try to push for a tempo game. And then finally, Spider Infected. Spider Infected is the classic spiders scenario. Everybody hates Spider Infected. Nobody likes their models moving around from it. But spiders have a lot of speed and a lot of movement tricks, and they have just a lot more agency when they get moved, and it punishes them a lot less. And it's a lot of points on the board, which is what we want. We want agency. So anyway, guys, that's my spiders list I'm playing overall. I'm pretty excited. I'm recording this before I've played any games in the league. Let me know what you guys think of it. What models should I consider? Should I play Captain America or Miss Marvel, or should I just keep both and be like, Valk sucks now, blah. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. I've got a Patreon. We've got cool tokens going on this month. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys later.